Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about the bounciest shoes that you can get right now. And I'm going to warn you guys, most of these are Nike shoes because Nike has Zoom and Zoom is super bouncy, you know, and foam, I guess foam can be very bouncy. But first of all, companies, they either cage the cushion if they have a bouncy foam for some reason or stiffen it up and change it up, you know, kind of like Under Armour. Under Armour, like charged foam is super nice. It has a good amount of compression. There is a little bit of bounce as well, but for some reason, when they put it in their basketball shoes, it feels like a different compound. I don't know what they do as far as like the blend goes or something, but it just feels way stiffer. So yeah, most of these shoes are gonna be Nike, so just telling you guys right off the bat. If you guys want to copy any of these shoes, I'll try to leave a link in the description box, but let's get it started off with the Jordan 36. The Jordan 36 is extremely bouncy because you have a full-length Zoom stroll unit pretty much right underneath your foot. So right when you get it, your stepping comfort is great. You feel that compression and bounce, and also it's a pretty stiff kind of like midsole. So I guess it doesn't really have anything to do with like the overall like cushioning setup, but that like stiffer kind of sole, you know, it doesn't really bend as much in the forefoot. That definitely does help you feel a little bit more explosive, kind of like out of your triple thread or you know, in like your first step. So yeah, the Jordan 36, you're gonna feel super bouncy. Also, the foam is nice. You know, the foam, you get a good amount of compression. Impact protection is great. So the Jordan 36, if you want to feel super bouncy, that's a great option. All right, next we got the Nike Cosmic Unity. I would say this is a little bit more mellow than the Jordan 36 because the sole is a little bit more flexible. You know, it all depends on what type of feel you want. It feels a little bit like smoother and more fluid when you're playing in it. But as far as the overall like cushioning setup goes, it has full-length Zoom strobe, so that's gonna be very, very bouncy. The foam is pretty trash though. They're using Crater foam, and I thought Crater foam was gonna be super nice. They're using recycled bits of foam from, I guess, kind of like their factories or whatever, and blending it together. I thought it was gonna have a little bit of compression, but it actually doesn't. So you don't really get anything from the actual foam, but like I said, that Zoom strobe unit is crazy bouncy. And I guess pretty much any shoe that has Zoom strobe, you know, so the KD14. The KD14 is super bouncy as well. You get that full-length Zoom strobe unit. Also, you have full-length cushion, and the cushion is very, very soft. It has a lot of compression. It bottoms out a little bit, so if it's a little too soft and you don't really like that as much, just give it some time, and once you break it in, it'll stiffen up a little bit. But anyways, it's still bouncy, and also you're gonna feel explosive. But you know, like I said, the Jordan 36 gives you kind of like that extra rigidness, you know, and I guess like stiffness in the sole out of like your first step because of that eclipse split. I feel like it has something to do with that. But the KD14 is a little bit more flexible in the forefoot. So like the Cosmic Unity, it feels a little bit more fluid, a little bit more smooth in like the heel to toe transition and stuff like that. But nonetheless, it's still super bouncy. But I would say the KD14 is better than the Cosmic Unity just because of that full length cushion. I guess like Nike really likes putting full-length Zoom strobe in their shoes, especially their basketball shoes. I ain't complaining, it's just super nice, right? So Zoom GT Run, I would say out of all of those, feels the lowest to the ground for some reason. And also you have a full-length drop-in React midsole, which is very, very nice. It grips your sock like crazy, but you would think that, you know, the React being in between your foot and the Zoom strobe unit wouldn't allow you to feel that Zoom as much, but it's still super bouncy for some reason, just like in, you know, like the LeBron 11 drop-in midsole. Remember that with the full-length Zoom bag underneath? It feels pretty damn similar to that. Very, very bouncy, but it's still low to the ground. And then last but not least, we got the Zoom GT Run, and the Zoom GT Run is really, really bouncy as well, but it's only in the forefoot. We got that Zoom strobe unit in the forefoot, and yeah, it's really thick, I would say. You know, it's probably thicker than the full-length Zoom strobe units that I mentioned in the other shoes. It's just like crazy compression. It feels really, really bouncy in the forefoot. The heel is full-length React. It's not crazy soft like their running shoes, but it still has a good amount of compression. It has a little bit of rebound back. I wouldn't say it's as bouncy as the running shoes, but it gives you a little bit of rebound back. But that forefoot though is extremely bouncy. Just watch out though, because the offset is kind of weird. You know, in most shoes, or even like running shoes, the offset's like this, right? This is your forefoot, this is your heel. The heel is usually higher than your forefoot, right? There's some shoes where it feels a little bit flatter, but in this shoe, that Zoom strobe unit in the forefoot is pretty damn thick, and it bulges out here in the forefoot. It just feels like the forefoot is a little bit higher than the heel. So just watch out for that. I didn't really like that feeling all too much. But I mean, yeah, it's super bouncy, and if you want something bouncy in the forefoot, then the Zoom GT Run is a great option. And of course, one shoe that I am looking forward to is the Zoom GT Jump. That cushioning setup looks absolutely insane. It looks like crazy Zoom. It's probably gonna have like insane compression, and your foot's probably gonna go into like 20 millimeters of zoom or something like that, right? So that should be coming out soon. And also another shoe that I'm pretty excited about is the LeBron 19 with the crazy dual chambered Air Max unit in the heel and then the crazy Zoom unit in the forefoot. I'm guessing it's a Zoom unit because you can see the Zoom fibers in the forefoot. But anyways, yeah, the LeBrons are always crazy bouncy. And the LeBron 18 is available right now. And the LeBron 18 is crazy bouncy. You know, you got that full length Zoom unit pretty much right underneath the foot. Feels like it's top loaded. And the great thing about that Zoom unit is that it's not segmented, right? So if you look at the Zoom Strobel unit, like the full length Zoom Strobel units, they're all segmented, right? And it just feels bouncy in that area. You know, like whatever area that's segmented, you know, like in the heel or in the forefoot or whatever. But in the LeBron 18 or like the original kind of like full length Zoom bags, you don't have any type of segmentation. And you kind of feel like the entire Zoom unit pretty much go right underneath your foot. So you feel the compression here in the heel, and then like the actual air, you can feel it moving inside the Zoom bag while your foot is moving inside of the shoe. It's a little bit of a different feeling, but still feels extremely bouncy. And of course you got that crazy Air Max unit, which definitely does help give you that kind of compression, like crazy compression, but also it kind of gives you that like trampoline effect. You know, it's definitely crazy. It's really, really crazy, almost too much. And I feel like it'll be too much for a lot of people, but it's definitely a fun and really bouncy cushioning setup to play in once in a while for me. All right, next we got the Zion 1. The Zion 1, I would say, is not as bouncy as the other shoes that I mentioned on this list because it's using a full-length Air Strobel unit. It's not Zoom. It's like Air Strobel is just more soft, I would say, but there is a little bit of bounce back, and you do feel a little bit of bounce in the forefoot because of that Zoom unit. So it's more just like really soft cushion, but you definitely do feel a little bit of bounce once you start like kind of like playing in it because the air and the air pressure is moving inside of that air unit, and you definitely feel that when you're playing in the Zion 1. So like I said, it's not super bouncy like the other ones, but it's still bouncy, especially comparing to like foam. And then the only shoe on this list that has foam is the Anta Shock the Game 5.0. And I don't know what it is about the shoe, but the foam is extremely soft, but also it has a good amount of rebound back. It's extremely thick as well. The court feel isn't the best. It's not terrible like the LeBrons, but it's not super low to the ground. But anyways, if you want something a little bit more mellow, or you want a foam that has a little bit of rebound back, then try out the Shock the Game 5.0. I guess there's like the Kyrie 7 and stuff like that if you want the Zoom Turbo unit, but it's not like super bouncy, and it's like only in the forefoot, especially comparing it to like the Zoom GT Run, you know? And also, I guess there is the Jordan Why Not 0.4 with that double stacked Zoom unit in the forefoot, which is really bouncy, but it's a pretty small surface area. It's only kind of like targeted in the forefoot, in a specific spot of the forefoot actually. So, I mean, it's really bouncy in that specific part. So if you want it in that specific part, then I guess it's a great option. But overall, you know, like in the heel and stuff like that, it's not crazy bouncy. So I guess, you know, I'll just slide it in the list a little bit, you know? But anyways, that about wraps it up. Again, if you guys do want to copy any of these shoes, I'll try to leave a link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.